Are you looking for the 10 most enchanting palaces in the world? Magic lies inside the lavish halls and verdant labyrinths of palaces. An easy look at a royal dwelling's dreamy interiors or sky-excessive towers transports vacationers in time to while kings and queens strolled via the bountiful courtyards, and participants of courtroom docket met inside the ornately adorned chambers. Much of the fascination with anciental castles and palatial houses spurs from the records that happened among the hallowed partitions and the rulers who regularly had bold visions for the layout of those placing structures. From a Moroccan fort shrouded in thriller to a Ratanakosin-fashion stunner in Bangkok, those 10 spellbinding palaces show off the satisfactory of architectural layout and retell testimonies of the past. The 10 most enchanting palaces in the world. 1. The Grand Palace in Bangkok, Thailand. An astounding instance of Ratanakosin-fashion. The Grand Palace served because the legit house of the Thai royal owned circle of relatives till 1925. Land for the sprawling complicated become first unique in 1782 while the legit capital of Thailand moved from Ayutthaya to Bangkok. At first, the grounds consisted best of the royal and throne halls. However, as time went on, greater authorities' workplaces and sacred temples had been constructed, consisting of the famed Temple of Emerald Buddha, while the bulk of the 100 homes inside the complicated have a tendency to be inside the vintage Bangkok fashion. European impacts may be visible in some of the halls, like Chakri Mahaprasad, which blends Italian Renaissance and conventional Thai structure. 2. El Badi Palace in Marrakech, Morocco. Translated to mean the incomparable, the ruins of El Badi Palace retell the intricate tale of Marrakech's fascinating past. Construction of the royal house started in 1578 after the ascension of Sultan Ahmed al-Mansur. Known for his love of opulent items, it's no wonder al-Mansur commanded for the palace and courtyard with 4 sunken gardens and reflecting pool to be paved with gold, turquoise, and crystal. During al-Mansur's reign, El Badi become taken into consideration to be one of the maximum extraordinary royal houses inside the Islamic world. However, the palace become destroyed at the start of the 18th century while Sultan Moulay Ismail moved the then capital to Meknes. Among the ruins nonetheless stands a labyrinth of halls and courtyards, giving structure and records buffs clues into the shape's luxe past. 3. Hawa Mahal in Jaipur, India. Known because the Palace of the Wind, Jaipur's colorful landmark become built in 1799 with the aid of using Maharaja Sawai Pratap Singh. The red-painted, honeycomb-like palace capabilities 953 windows, which allowed the girls of the royal courtroom docket to look at the bustling town without being visible. The palace's sensitive lattice work and 5-storied shape resembles the crown of the Hindu god Krishna, who Singh committed the palace to. Hawa Mahal's exclusive blush tone comes from sandstone local to the region. Today, traffic can walk the slim halls of the Red Palace and discover a small museum with miniature artwork and ceremonial relics of its royal past. 4. Alhambra in Granada, Spain. Set inside the rolling hills of Granada, this 14th century fortified palace demonstrates the mastery of Moorish layout and structure. Its origins are clouded in thriller as its Miles concept with the aid of using historians that the modern shape might also additionally had been constructed from historic Roman ruins. 11. Though the Alhambra's layout as we realize it these days dates lower back to the mid-13th century while Nasrid Emir Mohammed bin al-Amr started constructing the sprawling complicated. After the 1492 Reconquista, Alhambra's authentic mosque become changed with the aid of using a church whilst wings of the palaces had been renovated inside the Renaissance fashion, filled with bountiful gardens, non-violent courtyards, and problematic carvings in Arabic. Nonetheless, at the palace partitions, the Alhambra stands as a lesson on Granada's charming records. 5. Potala Palace in Lhasa, Tibet. Towering over the old-fashioned town of Lhasa, the Potala Palace as soon as housed the Tibetan authorities and served because the Dalai Lama's wintry weather house. The 1,300-year vintage Mecca become initially commissioned with the aid of using King Songtsen Gampo as a marriage present to his wife, Princess Wencheng of the Chinese Tang dynasty. Once the Buddhist priests had come to energy in Tibet, they improved the palace to consist of 1,000 rooms, from chapels to dwelling chambers. While the Dalai Lama has been exiled to India, considering the fact that 1959, the palace inside the clouds stays a sacred vacation spot for Buddhists the world over to tour to and pay their respects. 6. Peterhof Palace in Peterhof, Russia. Peter the Great first commissioned the development of a rustic property at the grounds of Peterhof in 1709. However, after traveling the Palace of Versailles, the Russian ruler had visions of something lots grander. In 1717, Peter sought to amplify his authentic plans to consist of an intricate collection of palaces and gardens to show off the distinction of Russian fashion. Architect Domenico Trezzini, well known for his impact on Petrine Baroque fashion, designed the canary yellow Grand Palace, which served because the middle of courtroom docket life. Today, the Grand Cascade and Samson Fountain marks the doorway of the palace, supplying a tranquil resting spot for visitors. 7. Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, Turkey. For centuries, the opulent pavilions and verdant courtyard of the Topkapi Palace had been taken into consideration, the crown jewel of the Ottoman Empire. Sultan Mehmed II ordered the development of the town palace after his conquest of Constantinople in 1459. The first courtyard acted as a carrier place along with a hospital, bakery, and dormitories for the participants of the Sultan's courtroom, docket, and harem, while the second courtyard served as an assembly area for the divan. While the palace is not used for legit country affairs, the colorful mosaic tiles and gold Arabic script carved into the carried on its regal and steeply priced legacy. 8. Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna, Austria. The origins of this opulent royal house date lower back to the stop of the 17th century, while Emperor Leopold I commissioned the Baroque architect Johann Bernhard Fischer von Erlach to lay out an imperial-looking lodge. Over the years, additions had been made to the assets with the aid of using diverse members of the Habsburg-owned circle of relatives. However, it wasn't until the reign of Empress Maria Theresa that the palace became converted into the glittering summertime season house it is referred to as these days. The 1,441-room palace and mystery topiary maze nonetheless homes a number of the maximum prized artistic endeavors and sculptures from the Habsburgs' collection, consisting of wedding supper with the aid of using Martin van Maten's. 9. The Forbidden City in Beijing, China. In the culinary heart of Beijing, the enduring imperial house stretching over 180 acres with almost 1,000 homes might also additionally simply be the maximum famous palace with inside the world. Over 1 million people had been hired to construct the palace and country house of the Emperor of China in the course of from 1406 to 1420. The Forbidden City served because the seat of each the Ming and later Qing dynasties, till Emperor Puyi abdicated the throne in 1912. Named UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987, the complicated now operates as a museum with over 10,000 valuable works of Chinese artwork and artifacts reasoning the halls and courtyards. 10. Royal Palace in Fez, Morocco. As that is nonetheless an energetic royal house for the King of Morocco, visitors aren't authorized with inside the grounds. However, the mysterious palace nonetheless manages to depart locals and visitor greatly surprised with its 7 enforcing the front gates. Built with inside the 1960s, the colorful brass doors with problematic tilework and carved cedar wooden show off the craftsmanship of Moroccan layout.